Tom Sneva, going after his first victory since 1977. And then a lane change for Sports World's Legends of Bowling, our unique 7-frame format elimination competition. Today's competitors, Eddie Ressler Jr., Elvira Tepfer, and Don Carter in blue versus Earl Anthony, Donna Adamek, and Ed Lubanski in yellow. And then a Sports World special, the first ever IFBB-sanctioned mixed pairs bodybuilding competition. A dual-gender celebration of the limitless possibilities of the body human. For Sports World, a premier glimpse at a fledgling endeavor guaranteed to raise serious questions concerning cultural conventions and conventional sport. All today on Sports World. Is NBC Sports World, and today is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz, engineered like no other car in the world, and by Schlitz, the Master Brewer's Brew. It's today's Schlitz. Go for it. Sports World is in the Valley of the Sun just outside of Phoenix, Arizona, where the temperatures are in the upper 80s. And we're not here for horses, we're here for horsepower at Phoenix International Raceway. I'm Paul Page, and this track here at Phoenix, Arizona is 1 mile around, very flat, and because of that, it makes for very exciting championship racing. Speaking of exciting racing, back at the Indianapolis 500 in May, we saw Johnny Rutherford pull into victory lane with a hitchhiker on the side of his car in the person of young Tim Richmond. And then on Sports World at Michigan International Speedway, we saw Tim Richmond once again, this time as he was cutting his race car in half, bouncing off the barriers, and then he walked away. But in part, as a result of that accident, your misfortune has been our fortune, and you're here with us on Sports World today, Tim Richmond.
Well, Paul, it's glad to be here. We did have a problem in Michigan. We did cut the car in half. The car owners decided, along with myself, to jump out of the car and sit out the rest of the season as far as champ cars are concerned. Then we went down south and ran a few NASCAR races, and next year we'll be back with the Indycars full-time and hopefully giving Johnny Rutherford a ride in victory lane.
Speaking of Johnny Rutherford, we are here at Johnny Rutherford's pits. And Tim, this has proven to be one of the most regulated, well-running teams that we've seen in racing in a long time.
Well, if a new team was going to be coming into champ car racing and they were going to imitate somebody, this is the team to imitate. These people are so professional. Johnny as a driver, Jim Hall as a car owner, and the whole crew is just a performance that is unmatched by any other team in the sport right now. And who knows? They're going to be up somewhere towards the front.
Johnny is just a few feet over here. We'll go over and see what he thinks of this race here at Phoenix, Arizona. Johnny, you're not on the pole. What's wrong, Ace?
Well, we had a problem yesterday, Paul. We had a turbocharger seal go bad, and it put oil in the engine, and it started detonating during practice. And then we changed it and thought we had it solved. In qualifying, the engine went away, and I was very fortunate, I think, to even finish qualifying. Wound up with second quick time outside in the front row, so that's where we've got to go from today.
The guy alongside of you, Mario Andretti, what happens in the first laps between the two of you?
Well, that depends on Mario, and of course I'm here to win this race, and you don't win the race in the first few laps. You've got to be around at the end. So if Mario puts a charge on and wants to lead the thing and go out front, then I probably will let him. But if I get a break on the start, get the jump, get the chance, I'm going to take the lead, I hope, and keep it the rest of the day.
Let's see if you can't win it. At this moment, Gary Gerald is just down the pits, and he is with Mario Andretti, the pole sitter.
Indeed we do, Paul. One of the most successful, one of the most familiar names in all auto racing, Mario Andretti at the pole today here at Phoenix. And Mario, in view of the frustration that you have experienced the past couple of years after the World Championship in Formula One, I would have to assume that winning a pole position starting at the top here at Phoenix has to be rather gratifying to you.
Well, it's always gratifying to be up front, to know that you have a very competitive car for this particular event. So this is what we're racing for, actually. You know, this is what makes it worthwhile, and I just hope that we can give it a good go during the race.
Well, Mario, great to see you back in the Indy cars. We're anticipating a great battle from the front row. Let's go back up now to Paul Page and Tim Richmond for a look at the starting lineup.
So Tim Richmond on the pole is Mario Andretti. He should go like a bandit from the green flag.
It'll be interesting to see what he does with the guy alongside of him.
Alongside Johnny Rutherford in number 4.
Paul, without a doubt, the man in the team to beat in 1980.
On the inside of the second row is Pancho Carter in number 10.
Pancho's a very consistent and very smart driver.
Al Unser is alongside Pancho in car number 5, a new machine.
Al is a 3-time Indy winner, but like you said, he has the new car blues this year.
The inside of the third row in car number 1 is Rick Mears.
Rick won the last Champ Car race in Mexico, and he'll be going for number 2 here in Phoenix.
Starting beside Rick in number 9 is Tom Sneva.
Tom, a very aggressive driver, but one who hasn't won in 3 years.
Back on the inside of the fourth row, Gordon Johncock in number 20.
Gordon is always a tough competitor here at Phoenix and a 5-time winner on this track.
Alongside Gordy, Bill Vukovic in number 2.
Billy, a second-generation driver, and had the fastest 4-cylinder qualifying time.
The inside of the fifth row in car number 40, Tom Bagley.
Tom Bagley, one of the first mini-Indy graduates to the IndyCar ranks.
Bill Alsop in number 41 is on the outside of the fifth row.
Bill Alsop, last year's kart rookie of the year.
So those are the first 5 rows, and here is the rest of the field at Phoenix International Raceway. And Sports World will be right back. To the pits.
Well, Paul, it looks like they're working on the back of the car, and what this will mean, Tom will have to start at the rear of the field.
Here is the front of the field, the front row. Mario Andretti and Johnny Rutherford coming off the fourth turn, waiting for the green flag. Mario shifts gears, and they're off. The green flag is out at Phoenix International Raceway as Johnny Rutherford leads them down into the first turn. A safe and smooth start for this championship field, but Rutherford trailing some smoke.
It seemed like Johnny got a little high there, and it might have been some dust on the racetrack.
So we may have problems in 2 cars. Tom Sneva, who is now in the back of the field, and will have to work his way up through traffic, and we'll have to watch Johnny Rutherford's car. Trailed a little bit of vapor of some sort, but everything running smoothly now as Rutherford leads lap number 1. Mario Andretti is beginning to chase him.
I'll tell you what, Paul, whatever the crew has done on Johnny Rutherford's car, they must have done it right. He is almost a straightaway head of Mario at this time.
Look at that bright yellow number 4 sail through the dogleg and down the backstretch at Phoenix International. Johnny Rutherford out in front of this field. Looks like Rutherford's car jumped a little bit.
Well, Paul, there's a small bump coming off of 4 there that does have a tendency to upset the chassis on the race car.
Well, if it upset the chassis, it did not upset Johnny Rutherford. He is out in front going through the second turn, being chased about a half a straightaway back by Mario Andretti.
This is not unusual for Johnny Rutherford. We've chased him all year long.
So Johnny Rutherford out in front, Mario Andretti is second, Al Unser is in third, and a smooth ride for Rutherford, though this man, car number 9, Tom Sneva, has his work cut out for him. He had to start in the back because of a problem. Let's go down to his pits and find out what that problem was.
Judd, what happened? We saw Tom come in before the start, and then when he got back out, it looked like he was having problems. What kind of problems you up against?
Well, the rear, the universal joint on the shifting linkage broke just as he pulled, or tried to pull away from the pits. So now all we have is high gear. And so naturally, it's very hard to pull out of the pit stops with high gear only. So we're hoping maybe we can go with 1 pit stop and hoping to slip the clutch enough on the pit stop to get away or whatever.
In other words, it's going to be a long afternoon. You're going to have to start now.
Started out pretty bad. Maybe it'll work out better.
All right, that's the word from Judd Phillips in the Tom Sneva pit.
So what Judd Phillips is saying is that Tom Sneva has a serious problem. Johnny Rutherford leading at the moment, but talking about Tom Sneva, Tim Richmond, the car is stuck in 4th gear and only 4th gear.
Well, Paul, what this means is if they have any yellows, when the green comes back out, the guys that have 1st, 2nd, and 3rd gear will be able to pick up the RPMs quicker, get the turbocharger brought in, and be able to take off. Tom Sneva only having 4th gear will take a lot longer to build up RPMs to get the horsepower out of the engine.
So if he's smart, Tom Sneva will have to take a run on the field. But Johnny Rutherford running smoothly now in number 1. Mario Andretti in second. Look how fast he goes past the slower cars. There he got past Pete Halsmer. Now he drives anywhere he wants on the racetrack.
Johnny seems to be taking a high line around the Phoenix track here, which is actually the fast way around with the slower cars working on the bottom of the track.
Dick Simons showing some vapor at the back of the car. Maybe some oil on the racetrack, Tim.
Paul, this could mean a little oil on the track. He looked a little low, so maybe it won't affect some of the other competitors running high.
Johnny Rutherford gets through smoothly and is now coming through the dog leg. A little jog over to the right.
And this dog leg is very interesting. If if you have the car set up right, you can go through there without getting off the throttle, without getting off the gas.
Tim, trouble in the first turn, a car up against the fence. It's Gordon Johncock. He tagged the fence.
And you can see all in the first turn as you see Tom Sneva slowing down.
So Johncock now begins to climb out of the car. He's apparently all right, but heavy damage to the race car. And Johnny Rutherford waves to his fans as we slow under the yellow at Phoenix International. So let's go to Atlantic City, New Jersey, where Mike Adamley is hosting the Mixed Pairs Bodybuilding Competition. Next time you're traveling, Sneva in car number 9, who started in last place because of a problem with his shift lever, has now worked his way up to second position on the racetrack in his red and yellow number 9. And he is cruising smoothly. Johnny Rutherford has dropped back to 4th place. His wife Betty is watching as she keeps his time and scoring in the pits. So Johnny Rutherford in 4th, Al Unser out in front, and Tom Sneva chasing Al Unser and very close to having moved from last into 1st place. Now Sneva begins to make his move, closes right up on the back end of Al Unser's car.
And Paul, they're closing on slower traffic, and I don't like the looks of this. It's getting awful crowded on this front straightaway.
Al Unser goes low, Sneva high, side by side across the line. Sneva darts to the outside. Can he hold on to it? Oh, trouble! Al Unser up into the side of another car, and then Billy Englehart drives into the back. 3 cars involved. On the left is Tom Bagley, car 40. Al Unser up against the fence. Billy Englehart against the fence. You were right, Tim Richmond. Very, very crowded.
Well, Paul, I've raced on this track, and what we had here was Tom Sneva and Al Unser racing for the lead, coming up on considerably slower traffic, and on this smaller track, 4 abreast going into the first turn, nothing else but this could have happened.
So we have 3 cars spinning into the fence, 3 drivers climbing out of their machines now, Unser, Englehart, and Bagley. Let's look at it once again. Sneva is high, Al Unser is low. They are side by side across the line. Sneva darts in front of Englehart. Englehart hits his brakes.
You can see Unser here low, gets trapped behind the slower car, has to dart out around him. They touch wheels right here, and that results in a 3-car crash.
And Tom Sneva hangs on to it, though he fishtails just a bit, and Tom Sneva goes into 1st place, but the yellow flag is out at Phoenix International Raceway. Here's Al Unser's car being pushed off the racetrack. Gary Gerald is down at the crash scene now.
Al, can we turn you around?
I don't even want to talk.
Nothing? Well, the disappointment is keen. Al Unser is so disappointed at this point. He was leading the race. He's hobbling back toward the infield. The injury not from one that he suffered in the accident, but one that he suffered in a freak mishap going over the wall earlier today. But as you can see, he simply will not talk about what happened down here in turns 1 and 2. The disappointment is that extreme and that pointed right now for Al Unser.
So some strong words from Al Unser, but other men are disappointed too. One is Billy Englehart, the other is...
I've got Tom Bagley down here now.
Go ahead, Gary Gerald.
Well, Al Unser didn't want to talk about what happened. Here's Tom Bagley. Maybe he will. Tom, can you give us any indication of what the problem was?
Well, I was stuck behind 2 slower cars, and I almost got put over a fence a couple times, and I was having difficulty because I couldn't pull them on the straightaway, but I couldn't get around. And Al, well, I'm not even sure who was behind me. I think it was Al and Rutherford. I just saw the colors of the cars, and they were going by me. And it seemed like there were a lot of cars in one spot, too many, but it looked as if everything was all okay, and all of a sudden something hit me, and I just slid up into the fence.
Did Al have anything to say to you after you both got out of your cars?
No, he was complaining that someone stopped, and I'm not sure who he was referring to, but I was... Well, yeah, I shouldn't have been stuck behind the 2 cars that I was stuck behind. I must have been behind him 5 or 6 laps, and I just had no way of getting around him.
All right, Tom Bagley, Al Unser, both out of the competition. It's been a long day for several already here at PIR.
So we're under yellow at Phoenix International Raceway. The pace car is out. The field lines up in signal file, anticipating a restart. And Sports World will be back right after this. Mario Andretti down the main straightaway, side by side, and Rutherford puts a slide on Andretti and moves into 2nd place. Let's go down to Johnny Rutherford's pit. Gary Gerald is there.
Well, Paul, here in the Johnny Rutherford pit, we've got Jim Hall. Jim, everything at this point all right, even though you're not in the lead.
Yes, Tom Sneeve is leading, but he has not made a pit stop. We've fueled so that we can run longer than he can. Even if he only stops once, we both got 2 stops to make, and everything looks fine.
All right, Jim Hall, that's the word up to date with the Johnny Rutherford crew as they try to win another one here at Phoenix.
So Johnny Rutherford and his crew have their work cut out for them, chasing this man, Tom Sneva, who just goes around Gary Bettenhausen, leading here at Phoenix. But there is Rutherford as he closes on the back of Sneva's car. Now remember, Sneva started in the back of the field and has moved his way up to number 1. Now Rutherford, who started on the outside of the front row, is beginning to close on the back of Sneva's car. And Tim Richmond, Rutherford can drive anywhere he wants.
Well, Paul, as you've seen coming off of 4 for Johnny Rutherford, the car was down low right on the line where most cars like to run up a little bit higher. You don't like to pinch the car off. So the car is still working as well or better as at the beginning of the race. So I think we should be able to see Johnny Rutherford try to attempt to overtake Tom Sneeva here in just a lap or 2.
They have slower traffic in front of them. Tom Sneva heading through the first turn. Rutherford closing. He's going to try him low. They're in the dogleg now. And Rutherford forces his way past Sneva. Sneva is slowed by Peter Halsmer. Now Sneva begins the chase again. Rutherford is out in front and leading this race once again. Rutherford begins to move around Dennis Firestone. Rutherford is in trouble. He's sliding. He's against the fence. The car flips upside down. This could be serious. The car has come to a rest on the track. Crews are now running toward the car. Rutherford, no movement underneath the car. The car flipped completely over. The rest of the field now stringing their way past. Now some of the pit crews have come out to try and help. There's a small alcohol fire. You can't see the flames. They'll have to get that car right side up to give Rutherford help. Still no movement under the car. There is another driver, Larry Cannon. He's going to try to get everyone to try and turn the car over. Steve Roby, Rutherford's crew chief, has just run onto the scene. Jim Ellis, another Rutherford team member, is there. The car is now right side up. The car completely flipping over and slamming down on its top. No sign of movement. Now Steve Edwards, the safety director, is on the scene. He is signaling to the rest of his crew that he needs extrication equipment. The race physician, Steve Alvey, has just arrived. So within seconds, the emergency crews are there, and they're doing their job, but Rutherford could be seriously injured.
Fire chemicals making a cloud, making it impossible to see.
This accident of this type has not happened in championship racing for some time. It is very rare to see a championship car upside down. They're working with Rutherford. The doctor is working over him. And Rutherford is moving in the cockpit. He's talking now. So Rutherford is now able to talk with his rescuers. He is still trapped in that race car, but he's talking. There's Betty Rutherford, his wife. She is a nurse. She's obviously relieved. Gordon Johncock is there. This is a moment when the racing fraternity binds very closely together. And now their job will be to get Rutherford out of that battered and broken car, but he is conscious, and he is talking with his rescuers at this moment. I am amazed and relieved that this is not more serious. Tim, let's look at it again in slow motion.
Well, here Johnny Rutherford's coming around Dennis Firestone, and he just touches Dennis's left front wheel, and Johnny backs into the wall with his left rear. The left rear comes off the car, rolls under the car, flips the car upside down.
And it slams down on the racetrack. An incredible impact. Look at the driving here of Peter Halsmer, who drives his way around the accident. The cars are now stopped. The drivers are out. Let's go to Gary Gerald.
Well, here's Dennis Firestone, Paul, and perhaps he can tell us a little bit about what happened down there in turn number 4. Dennis, I know you were close to the action.
Yeah, I was right in the middle of it, unfortunately. I hope he's all right. I was just exiting turn 4, minding my own business, trying to do my own thing, and I felt a big thud on my rear tire, and the next thing I see is a yellow machine doing somersaults over my head, and of course spun me out in the inside, and I spun down the straightaway. It's just, I hope he's all right. That's all I can say.
All right, Dennis, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, Dennis Firestone was right there and involved. Let's look at it again and see what he says and see what the replay shows. Rutherford goes around on the outside, is alongside, now going past Firestone. And it looks to me that Firestone's right front tire is hit, and then Rutherford starts the slide as Firestone was sliding up on the race course. Well, now they've loaded Johnny Rutherford into the ambulance. Let's go back down to Gary Gerald.
All right, Paul, here's Pete Halsmer now, who also very close to this incident in turn number 4. Pete, tell us from your vantage point what you were able to see and how you reacted.
Well, naturally I was pretty busy taking care of myself too, but it looked like John was trying to go around the outside of Dennis coming out of the fourth turn there. And it was tough for me. I couldn't tell how far up Johnny was, but it looked like they touched wheels. It looked like John looked like he was really going to have a hard time making it. I'm not sure if Dennis saw him or not. It looked like there was some question there. I'm sure Johnny wasn't real sure that Dennis saw him and was going to leave him room to the wall. And they touched wheels, and that's when the stuff started. And
What was your reaction at this point when you saw that happening in front of you?
Well, I knew I had to get slowed down because they were bouncing all over the track, and I really had to really concentrate. I kept slowing as hard as I could and kept looking for a hole to get through and looking for a hole, and it never developed. And I thought I was going to have to just come dead. And finally, I saw a spot that I could get through without running over too much stuff. But I ran over a little piece of something, but apparently it didn't hurt anything. So.
I appreciate your comments.
I'm glad to see the guys are all right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
There's Rutherford's race car, and the roll bar snapped off. They were trying to pick the car up by the roll bar, and it snapped off. They're now loading the ambulance helicopter, and I'll have to say I have spent a lot of joyous time with Johnny Rutherford, and I was scared.
Without a doubt, Paul. Johnny Rutherford is one of the finest men in the sport. At Indianapolis this year, the first time for myself to go to the Speedway, he was one of the men that helped me the most of anybody at the Speedway.
We'll have a report on John's condition as soon as we get definitive word. We'll be back.
Instant photography by Kodak, and the gift.
Surprise, Grandma! I brought you a treat. Oh.
The official report on Johnny Rutherford. He has a slight concussion. He has burns to his forehead, a cut over his right eye, and a lacerated finger. He is a very, very lucky man. While the red flag was out, Tom Sneva's crew was able to effect some repairs to his damaged shift lever. Sports World will be back.
42!
Oh, what a call! We're back at the Phoenix 150 where the yellow flag is out once again. The four-cylinder engine of Bill Vukovich has given up on the racetrack. The yellow out because they'll have to tow Vukovich in. And now, under the yellow, the leader, Tom Sneva, comes in for a pit stop. We expect most of the cars to come in and make stops under this yellow. Sneva's crew goes to work on the machine. No tires being changed. They refuel.
And, Paul, here's Rick Mears now, the #1 car, defending national champion in. Of course, he's trying to make it 2 in a row after winning at Mexico City 2 weeks ago. We've got a problem possibly on the right. Yes, trouble, Paul, for Mears.
The tire bounces off of the right rear of the car, and Mears skids to a stop in the pits. Now, that shouldn't cause too much damage to the car, but it certainly is going to cause a lot of damage to his time in the race. Tom Sneva back on the race course as #1. Penske crew down to try and retrieve Mears' car, and Mario Andretti comes in.
Well, with Rick Mears departing the racetrack and with a problem for Mears, here's Mario Andretti right now in car number 12. Mario battling with Tom Sneva for the lead. As you can see, they're going to go for right side rubber on this stop. We're getting down to just past the 100 lap mark, less than 50 to go. The stop appears to be routine, and Mario is away.
So as Mario Andretti heads back to the racetrack, Tom Sneva is in first place, and Jerry Carl, because he did not make a pit stop under this yellow, suddenly finds himself in second place driving that stock block Chevrolet. Mario Andretti is in third, Sheldon Kinzer is in fourth, Gary Bentonhausen is in fifth. We'll be back with more of the race, and there will be more of the mixed pairs bodybuilding. But right now, let's go to Sam Nover for the Legends of Bowling, which, because of the length of the red flag on Johnny Rutherford's accident, we join in progress.
Oh, I'm really looking forward.
Now in the Phoenix 150, it is Tom Sneva leading in his red and yellow #9. But the real story is is developing back in second place because Jerry Carl in the red and white number 38 in a machine powered by a standard American Chevrolet stock block engine is doing battle with the former world driving champion Mario Andretti in a highly sophisticated Cosworth power machine. Now, Sneva started this race all the way in the back and has moved up to first place. He's running smoothly on the race course right now.
Paul, it's interesting to note that Jerry Carl's engine, the stock block Chevrolet, in terms of cost, is about $18,000. The engine in Mario's car is around $43,000, so there is a big difference.
Tim Gary Gerald is in Carl's pit right now.
The happiest guy at Phoenix International Raceway right now is crew chief Lou Parks with Jerry Carl. Do you have enough fuel in the stock block that you can go the rest of the way?
We think we can. We're going to gamble. We blew an engine last night. We worked all night long. Got the engine in. I haven't slept in 2 days. We're going to gamble. We might lose, but we're going to try it.
Have you ever been more excited at a Jerry?
Never in my life.
All right, there's the story of the Jerry Carl pit. Paul, back up to you.
Well, there's some guys really enjoying their afternoon. This fella's enjoying it too. He's leading right now. Tom Sneva, when he started the race, probably wouldn't have guessed he would be here now. He started in last place with a problem in his shift linkage, but now he's up in front. And of course, the Carl story is so fascinating because he is one of the little guys in racing. He is trying to make it with equipment that really doesn't match up against that of Mario Andretti or Rick Mears. His engine is half the cost of the Cosworth engine, and yet he's out there competing with a former world driving champion. Gary Gerald has now moved down to Tom Sneva's pit.
Here's Judd Phillips again in the Sneva pit. Judd, you're keeping awful close tabs on fuel. Can you go the rest of the distance at this point?
Oh, yeah, the thing worries us more. Mario Andretti worries us more than fuel right now. No, fuel should go all the way.
All right, thank you. Judd Phillips, he keeping a close eye not only on his man Tom Sneva, but also number 12, Mario Andretti.
Well, Mario Andretti is worried about number 38, Jerry Carl, because Carl is in second place, and he has been able to keep Andretti back. Here they are, side by side on the main straightaway once again. The torque of Carl's engine working, and Carl slams the door on Andretti.
Paul, it'd be interesting to note, with Mario pushing Jerry Carl as hard as he is, if that stock block Chevrolet can hold up under this pressure.
So Jerry Carl in second place, Mario Andretti in third. Gary Gerald is now in Andretti's pits with Roger Penske.
Here's Roger Penske, who's been watching that battle so closely. Roger, are you surprised at the fact that the stock block and Jerry Carl is running this well?
Well, on this racetrack, George Fulmer won a race with a stock block, and they've got good torque coming off, and he must be handling pretty well. He's doing a good job.
How about, are you confident that everything is all right with your car and with Mario?
Well, we're doing the best we can. We were understeering a little bit, but Mario seems to be able to go underneath him, but Jerry's sticking a little better coming off it too, but it's still a long way to go.
Okay, thanks, Roger. Back upstairs now to Paul and Tim.
Well, Gary, we're loving it up here. This tremendous battle for second place, and the fans are enjoying it too. They're cheering Jerry Carl lap after lap after lap. Tom Sneva still solidly in first place in the Phoenix 150. But let's take time out from the action here to go to Atlantic City, New Jersey for the mixed pairs bodybuilding and Mike Adamley.
Mike Adamley and Lisa Lyon back in Atlantic City, New Jersey.
150. That tremendous battle for second place has just ended in an oily cloud of disappointment for Jerry Carl as his engine has let go. Now Tom Sneva is still in first place, Mario Andretti is in second, and Gary Gerald is working his way over to Carl's pit.
Well, a black flag now followed by a yellow flag on the front straightaway, and all of that joy and jubilation has turned suddenly sour.
I'm still happy. I'm still happy. We burned a piston, but we can run with them.
Well, you're getting a standing ovation from this crowd as he comes smoking into the pits. And I'll tell you, Jerry Carl has done a job as we're enveloped in smoke here in the pit area.
A richly deserved standing ovation from the fans here in Phoenix for Jerry Carl. A tremendous fight. He kept that stock block engine running. Gotta be a happy guy.
Paul, he really does. It is a big disappointment to have to go out of a race with mechanical failure, but then in another sense, he held off a former world champion in Mario Andretti with a Chevrolet stock block. So I'm sure Carl is very happy.
And boy, Tim Richmond, the crowd loves it here. Jerry Carl acknowledges their cheers, pulls off his gloves. Gary Gerald is right there. along with our crew that has worked in the pits all afternoon and done a magnificent job.
Jerry's going to take just a second to try to get unzipped and get the helmet off here, but you know that underneath that helmet, once he pops clear, even though there's going to be tremendous disappointment, there's got to be tremendous satisfaction. I still think we're going to see a big smile as we wait for the Pennsylvania driver to come around. Jerry Carl, I don't know if you can hear it, but those people across the way were standing and applauding one of the greatest battles we've seen in IndyCar racing in a long while.
Well, I was having a heck of a lot of fun, I'll tell you that, until the motor gave up on me.
They talk about the stock block and the wave of the future. Do you think you've proved a point here today, even though you're not in this race to the finish?
Well, I hope so. We've been running fairly strong all year, and considering, you know, most of the fellas like Mario, and he was here Sunday and Monday testing, and we came here and ran 15 laps and qualified. So if we could just get a program to go together where we could have the same advantages as those fellas, you know, where we could come in and test and do a little dyno work, I'm sure we could win some races. I think I could have won today if it didn't give up on me.
I know you won yourself an awful lot of fans today. Here's Jerry Carl down in Newcastle. Let's go upstairs.
Well, not a finish, but still a victory for the small operation in the stock block engine. Tom Sneva leads. So let's go to Atlantic City, New Jersey for the conclusion of the mixed pairs bodybuilding.
Mike Adderley and Lisa Lyon.
Of the Phoenix 150, and Tom Sneva is out in front. Gary Bettenhausen in number 46 is actually in third position, a lap down, and Rick Mears in car number 1 is in fourth place, also 1 lap down. The white flag, one more lap, 1 more mile to go for Tom Sneva.
And there is Judd Phillips, who has watched his driver, Tom Sneva, start this race in the back of the pack and work his way all the way to the front. With 1 more mile to go, he's coming down for the checkered flag.
So Tom Sneva with clear sailing ahead through the third turn, heading for the fourth turn, and then only a short piece of straightaway. His wife Sharon watching. The checkered flag is out. Tom Sneva has won the Phoenix 150. A happy celebration now as Sharon and the rest of the crew begins now to celebrate. Mario Andretti in second place, but his engine let go as he crossed over the line, giving up to the strain of that tremendous battle with Jerry Carl. Andretti in second place. Third place will go to Gary Bettenhausen. Fourth place will go to Sheldon Kinzer, and Rick Mears has finished in fifth place unofficially.
Well, you can tell this one's been a long time coming. Here's Tom Sneva. Tom, I think it was 1977, the last time this happened. I know you got to feel good.
Oh, we really do. You know, it's been a while, and, you know, I just don't know what to say. It was just a...
And here's Sharon in here for a victory kiss.
The guys worked hard all year. We've been, you know, didn't have as much money as some of the guys, but I'm real happy for Jerry Connell and the Sugar Ripe team, Judd Phillips, Paul, Gary, all the guys, Charlie. I mean, we started the race with only 1 gear and got some luck and missed all the wrecks, and
that was the question. When you started out at the very back, you made the bonsai drive. During the red flag, were you able to correct the situation, we understand?
We definitely were, and it definitely helped us out, but I only had first gear. The shifting linkage broke and fell on the ground, and we were able to weld it up at the red flag, and it definitely made a difference.
I got a feeling that this party's going to last for a while.
Well, I don't know. We're happy for it. We just hope the next one doesn't come so far down the road.
All right, congratulations again, Tom.
Thank you.
Here's your jubilant winner in Phoenix. Let's go back upstairs.
Well, Gary, the results are official now. Tom Sneva is the winner. Second place is Mario Andretti. Third, Gary Bettenhausen. Fourth, Sheldon Kinzer. Rick Mears in fifth. And Tim Richmond, thank you so much for your help today.
Well, thank you, Paul. I would have rather been in a race car today, but it's been great working with you and Gary.
Our thanks, too, to Gary Gerald, and our congratulations to Tom Sneva, winner of the Phoenix 150.
Fort Worth, Texas. And John, that was an unbelievable accident, and I'm surprised at really how good you look. Are you okay?
Well, yes. I still have some numbness on the left side of my head and shoulder that is really weird because I've had trouble getting used to the fact that it feels like my shirt is unbuttoned and my collar is hanging off my shoulder. But other than that, things have just, I've been getting my strength back, and I feel a lot better.
John, we've watched it probably more times than you want to in replay. Do you have any idea what happened?
Paul, I don't. The accident itself, I don't even recall passing Tom Sneva for the lead. So it
You don't remember going for the lead?
No, you know, and that's pretty tough too. When I don't remember going for the lead, the situation goes. You know, I can remember having Tom all lined up and set up and seeing him and closing, but I don't recall the actual pass or anything leading up to the time of the accident or even shortly after. I remember vaguely one portion in the helicopter when we were waiting to take off to go to the hospital. Remember the helicopter noises and stuff, but I don't remember.
Now that you've seen the tape, what do you think happened?
Well, it appears that I was passing around the outside of Dennis Firestone, and his right front evidently clipped my left rear, which set me sideways or set the chain reaction in motion. The car spun, hit the fence, did one of the wildest gyrations I've ever seen a Champ car do, in that it came clear around, and then the left rear tire that was broken, a wheel that was broken, turned under the car and launched it. And to look at it, it's plenty scary.
The whole thing, in one form, is a tribute to the safety systems in championship racing. But your helmet is really beat up.
It's unbelievable what the helmet went through. As you can see, where my head was against the pavement, I think probably this was the first impact point when the car came down upside down. It must have hit here and scraped and turned my head, and it pushed it back, and it got this dent in the helmet, and the inside of the safety liner, the actual impact of absorbing material is broken, and it's split apart in several different pieces inside. It's a styrofoam type material, but I've got the dent here, which is enough to maybe do some people in. The scrapes and marks, it pushed my head down and ground through the rivets that hold the chin strap to the helmet. This is actually inside and riveted to. The chin strap came loose and it fell off. It ground around, it ground through the pivot that holds the visor, and it probably popped open just like that. And that's where I got the burns on my forehead, was a flash fire came through the open window in the front of the helmet and actually burned my forehead. I've got a crack through the face piece that goes through here. There's a crack that starts in the corner and goes up through here. That's cracked completely through right here. And of course this one back here is quite obvious. There's a crack, so it must have taken some crushing moment. And
but all of these cracks and everything, the helmet's not defective. It did what it's supposed to do.
It did exactly what it's supposed to do, and then some, I think. And of course, Bill Simpson, that built the helmet in California, Simpson Safety Equipment, this is the sort of thing that they find out their information from. So it's going to go to California and be evaluated. And
so the next time you do it, it'll be a better helmet.
Well, I'm going to get another test pilot, I think, for the next time.
Well, John, we're very happy that you're okay. At least a few cuts and bruises, but you're still going to make it just fine. One final question. The race car itself looked like it was an absolute disaster. Is there anything left at all?
Funny you should ask. We took what was left, and that's all there is.
Think you can drive that next year?
I've got to go on a diet.
So that's it from here in the Rutherford home in Fort Worth, Texas, and that's it for Sports World. So long.
We're number one. We're number one.